Hello, beautiful souls. Happy Sunday and welcome to the channel. I was getting a very strong and multi-layered energy coming up today. So I felt guided to come on and do this video for a specific collective of divine feminines that I'm picking up on here. I had to pause there just to take a sigh because there's so much energy coming through around this. And I know that if you're a divine feminine who aligns and connects with this video, you will understand what I mean when I say there's a lot coming through, because you are most likely feeling this energetically in your bones, in your cells, in your energy body. And it's a kind of heaviness and a kind of spiritual sadness, my guides are calling it. Not sadness that leads to stagnancy, but a sadness that facilitates transformation. And what I mean by that is, when I say you're feeling a sadness, it's not that you are stuck in something, although it might feel that way at times. This sadness is because you are aware of how much you are transforming. And you are aware that you are going places not everyone is going to be able to follow. And what I mean by that is, you are transcending into higher and higher levels of energy that are allowing you to align with really high vibrational timeline trajectories. In the midst of you aligning with these higher timelines, you've been meeting and brushing arms with, so to speak, and connecting with many different people. Some of them may be friends. These could be potential business associates. I'm hearing some of them are supporters, whatever that means for you, here to cheer you on or to support you in some way. Some of them have felt very triggered by you. Some of them have been inspired. Some of these could be love situations. But things are really coming to a head now, because at the end of the day, these individuals that you've been meeting or connecting with have to make their own choices. They have to decide for themselves whether they are brave enough to continue along this path with you. You are going to beautiful, magnificent places. And for many of you listening, you've already begun to see those realities unfolding around you. But the thing is, this window of time is closing where people have been able to connect with your very high vibrational energy that can be either so triggering or so inspiring, depending on how someone chooses to process that energy they're receiving from you. This window of time is closing where, again, people are going to have to make a choice, and they're going to have to decide if they are going to truly take the jump, I'm hearing, to do the level of brave introspection and inner work necessary to continue keeping up with you, aligning with you, or whether they are going to choose to fall back. Now, there's really no right or wrong choice here. We all incarnate on earth as conscious, creative beings in control of our own reality. And these individuals get to choose their timeline and their reality, just like you get to choose yours. But the thing about these timeline splits, we could call them, or kind of like this window closing, is that there's been this period of time where people have been able to kind of sit on the fence or go back and forth. They've been able to somewhat stay connected with you, even while maybe not necessarily fully appreciating you, fully giving back in a reciprocated way, being a bit uncertain about you or about this pathway. But these individuals, it's almost like they've gotten a taste of this timeline and your energy and what it's like to connect with you. And I've described this before, almost like knowing someone before they're famous. It's almost like you have this spiritual celebrity energy. Now, of course, for some of you, maybe you are literally manifesting fame or some kind of audience or following in the physical realm. That might be part of your soul contract and only you can know for yourself. But for many of you, I'm speaking to a spiritual celebrity energy, to this status that you have in the spiritual realm that you've earned through this metamorphosis that you've gone through, and that's being more consciously revealed to others. And so people are being pushed to a decision point. And the way you will know someone is at this decision point with you is by their silence. When someone goes very quiet on you after a period of time of the two of you connecting, or maybe even more so after a time where things have felt a little bit back and forth, where maybe you've kind of intuitively wondered if they've had one foot in and one foot out of your life. If all of a sudden they go radio silent and you stop hearing from them or hearing from them as much, you are being guided to allow this silence, because what it actually means is this person has reached that turning point or that decision point, that kind of fork in the road where they have to decide for themselves whether they're going to continue introspecting, doing this inner work, aligning with their own highest purpose and potential. And since you are doing that within your own life, that's naturally going to connect, harmonize, and align the two of you in the physical realm. And I'm not just talking romantically, I'm talking about friendships, family members, etc. But if they decide that that is too much of an intense pathway for them, that they want to have an easier life at, yes, more of a settled, mediocre kind of timeline, but one in which they don't have to be constantly on this leading edge energetically, constantly being one of those visionaries, so to speak, as you are. Again, that's a completely okay choice for someone to make. Many people choose, even prior to incarnating, to have what's known as a resting life on earth, where they are meant to be relaxing, enjoying their life at this kind of settled level of vibration. But for you, your life has been very much the opposite of a resting life. You've been doing so much work for yourself, for your family's line, for future generations to come, whether they're coming through you or just coming collectively to planet Earth. But you're also upon something very powerful for the collective as well. There's something that you are doing or cultivating or creating in the world that needs to be heard or seen, and is meant to inspire millions of people in the world in some way. Now, for some of you, this could be a business idea that's going to touch the lives of millions of people. This could be something you're creating with your art or your music. This could be just the butterfly effect. Like, you may not even know that you're impacting millions of people, but it's the butterfly effect of how you're choosing to live your life, the kind of frequency that you are choosing to cultivate within your life in some way. Because really, at the end of the day, you're working with frequency. Yes, there are physical components to whatever you're doing, but you are an energy worker. You are doing things in your own way that shift energies, that cultivate frequencies in ways that strengthen and heal the collective grid, that have an effect on a planetary level, even if you can't visibly see it. This is reminding me of the fact that the other day I really got a download to do a more in-depth message for a specific group of grid workers. It's interesting, this is coming up here when I said heal the collective grid. That really triggered this remembrance, because I do feel that many of you I'm speaking to here may specifically resonate with the idea of being a grid worker. If you haven't heard this term before, a grid worker is simply someone who works with the collective grid of human consciousness by intuitively allowing themselves to be guided to particular places geographically on the planet, or even just in their local area. You don't have to travel far to be a grid worker. You could be inspired to take a different route one day on your way to work, to go to a particular park and sit there and just meditate or read or just exist in that space. Even going to a physical place like a store or somewhere that might seem completely random and innocuous, but it's actually your intuition guiding you to that particular physical place or space for the purpose of just existing there, and through your existence, radiating an energy that is strengthening, healing, or activating certain points on this collective grid on planet Earth. So if that resonates with you and you'd like to hear more on grid working or being a grid worker, then you can let me know in the comments. But regardless of whether or not that particular point connects with you, I'm getting that many people in your life are feeling this timeline split very heavy. So some of what you're feeling, if you're feeling this sadness, it's you sensing that other people are making their choices, that people are deciding whether or not they're capable of keeping up with you on this timeline. Now, of course, if they choose not to, that doesn't mean that they disappear physically. It just means that you will find it more difficult for the two of you to harmoniously connect and relate in the physical world through your communication and interactions. And it will feel like this natural kind of disconnection being created. Whereas if they choose to keep aligning and connecting with this higher timeline, the opposite is true. It will feel as though the two of you are just really aligning, really connecting in this natural, beautiful, and harmonious way. What many people are learning around you as well is this can't be forced. This alignment or misalignment is something that happens naturally and is dependent on the frequency that you choose to live in. I'm hearing some are choosing love and some are choosing fear. You are one who is bravely choosing love over and over again. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that your fears don't surface from time to time, but what it does mean is every time a fear comes up for you, you choose to meet that fear with love. I'm hearing love is the antidote for fear. Whereas people who are choosing fear over and over again are going to find themselves feeling disconnected from your love, not because it's not there for them, not because it's not accessible to them, but because they are refusing to let it in, vibrationally speaking, because they're choosing to live in this kind of prison of fear. So a message coming through is just to continue bravely choosing love, but to understand not everyone is going to be able to go with you into that. To also know that there's this temptation being presented right now where there are certain individuals choosing fear who may try to pull you into that lower vibration to connect with you. And understand that it's your mission to hold the frequency of love, and that you may find that certain individuals may want to kind of have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. It's kind of a funny phrase that I don't usually use, but in this context, what this means is they will want to choose that other timeline of fear, of lower vibrations, of disconnecting from themselves, but they'll still want to stay physically connected or communicative with you. And the only way they can have both of these things is if they can pull you down to your level. So at this time, and again, I'm not saying that people are doing this consciously or intentionally or maliciously. It's just this natural instinct where they desire to have you in their life, but they haven't yet learned that this is so synchronous. But it reminds me of a reading I did a while ago where I said, if someone wants to reach you, they have to come through love. And now it's almost like we're getting that phrase redefined and kind of colored and detailed in a way through this particular reading video, because what we're saying is you've chosen that timeline of love, and if other people want to connect with you physically, harmoniously, effortlessly, they themselves are going to have to choose to align with love. And I do see there may be one person for some of you, or maybe a few people who are unconsciously trying to pull you into their fear. And it's okay if you've maybe not realized this is happening, and there have been times where you've allowed yourself to kind of be pulled into that. This is just meant to be kind of a wake-up call message that could be happening. If this is for you, you're already intuitively aware of it, but this is a confirmation that your intuition is right, that this person or group of people has been trying to connect with you from that lower place, but you are meant to allow, I'm hearing to allow the disconnect, to allow the silence if there's going to be silence or if there's going to be disconnect as you hold those higher energies, because if or when this person chooses to connect with love and with higher energy, they will find themselves naturally aligning with you as well. And the message is coming through as well, just to trust that process of alignment and realignment happening in your life. I'm also hearing people that are waiting for you. So what I get from that is there are whole groups and communities of people who want to connect with you in that higher energy space. And even if at times it feels lonely to be existing in this kind of higher energy and feeling yourself being disconnected from a lot of people who can't yet reach you there or have chosen not to, know that there are many who are going to really connect with you and align with you in that very deep, authentic, mutually uplifting way. And I feel I'm actually speaking to a specific group of people here who hasn't really yet had that experience of finding your people, finding a group that you actually feel really authentically seen by and really mutually supported by, where you are supporting each other's dreams and visions, where you just naturally understand each other. So if you haven't yet experienced that in this lifetime, know that those individuals are waiting for you. They want to connect with you, but they can only reach you if you are bravely choosing to stand alone at times, even if that is what it takes in certain moments, to allow this disconnect from people and things who can't connect with you on that level. And this whole video has really been inspiring a new subliminal that I'd like to create for my app. The subliminal is going to be called Align with Your Highest Timeline, or Highest Timeline Alignment, or something along those lines. I'll have the exact wording in the pinned comment and description box under the video after I create it. I should have it created by about the time this video goes live. So if you do have the Sound and Soulful Subliminals app already, then feel free to add this to your playlist if this reading is resonating. This subliminal is going to be a really powerful one. I can already tell it's one that we're going to be talking about a lot, and one that is really going to help you to connect with that energy of your highest timeline, to bravely and confidently hold that higher frequency of love, of success, of authenticity, of happiness, and to connect with more physical people, support, manifestations, ideas, opportunities, things to help you materialize more of those aspects physically of that highest timeline. So if that is feeling inspiring for you or aligned with you, then you can get that subliminal meditation through my Subliminals app, which is called Sound and Soulful. You can find it by searching in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And I will be sharing a referral code specifically for those of you coming from this video. The code will be timeline in all caps. And if you use this code at sign up in the app, you will get 10% off your membership. If you are unfamiliar with subliminals, I really recommend trying them out, incorporating them into your personal daily manifestation rituals and routines. The nice thing about them is there are so many different ways that you can incorporate them. They're really effortless to use. So you can have them on in the background while you're cleaning, while you're going about your day, while you're working. You can also listen to them overnight while you're sleeping, which is one of my personal favorite ways to really deeply reprogram my subconscious mind with subliminals. And for those of you who don't know, subliminals are audio meditations that contain unconscious spoken affirmations that you won't be able to fully consciously hear all the way through listening. And that is actually why they work so effectively, because they're targeting your subconscious mind, which we know through research controls 95% of our thoughts. So of course, when we talk about in the law of attraction, our thoughts creating our reality, the reason so many of us struggle to manifest is because we're leaving 95% of our thoughts, those subconscious thoughts, unaddressed. So subliminals are a beautiful, powerful way to access and positively reprogram the subconscious mind. And in my app, Sound and Soulful, I have many different subliminals for things like love, relationships, money, success, energy clearing. And we are in the process of adding so many more as well. There's been several new subliminals I've created and added just in the last week based on your recommendations. Yes, you can also make recommendations for new subliminals in the app, and I love hearing those from you. I am beginning to incorporate more and more of those. And of course, we're just going to see that continue to grow through 2025. So wow, what a big message to be coming through today. I do want to pull a few more cards here just to see what else we can channel around your energy, around this kind of timeline split taking place that we've been talking about. Okay, what can I channel? It's interesting. I reached for the emotion deck, and prior to starting this reading, I saw the card Trust from this deck. And we're also now getting the cards Doubt and Patience. So I'm seeing that someone listening here may be struggling with doubt. Maybe you're wondering whether you can truly trust this new timeline that you're aligning with, because so much about it seems like a free fall into the void. It feels deeply unfamiliar. And yet the message coming through here is to have patience in this unfolding. I'm also hearing to trust the intuitive, subtle shifts that you feel within yourself. Those nagging feelings seem to really be very telling at this time. So what I mean by that is, if you have some inkling of intuition that keeps pulling on you, that keeps nagging you, like maybe you should try this, or maybe you should go in that direction, and you get this day after day or week after week, it kind of just keeps coming back up. That's a very powerful sign that your intuition is trying to pull you in some kind of a different direction. And I'm just getting this message of really leaning into those feelings of intuition and where they might be trying to pull you. So let's go ahead and close this reading with a Rumi Oracle card. I love to typically close the readings with Rumi because there's just so much wisdom in this deck and in this guidebook. And the card here is Enter the Garden of Delights. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the guidebook here. And the guidebook says, are you aware that sweetness is found everywhere in town? Are you aware that winter is gone and spring has come around? Are you aware that sweet basil and the carnation are whispering in the garden and laughing about how simply everything is found? Are you aware the nightingale has come back from its flight, singing out messages of love to spread delight with every sound? Everything in the garden is granted the right from the divine court to appear for our delight. Everything is here to make the earth green and alive as a haven for our life. What remains buried in the soil will always endeavor to reach out. No one ever truly alive can ever be pawned to a prison or a tomb. And the guidebook also says, when the soul is well acquainted with love, life becomes a temple of love, the sacred space in which the soul can grow powerful through expansive worship of love. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading there. If anything connected with you personally, I would love to hear from you in the comments. And of course, I invite you to subscribe to our channel, join this beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok now, both at Magnetize Yourself, all one word. And of course, if you do want to utilize the highest vibrational timeline alignment subliminal that I've created specifically for this reading video, then the link to get my subliminals app is in the pinned comment and the description box underneath this video. Otherwise, I am sending you all huge amounts of love and light energy. Have an amazing remainder of your day, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.